Feel the wind as I spread my wings. I burn bright like the sun. I am like the spring. I bring life. I bring life to the earth. The spirit that moves within the living waters moves within me. Sunlight is the sunlight trapped in water that quenches my thirst. It is the rainbows that glow like majestic rays of hope when the mist falls and the sun burns bright. Feel the might of the light that was born in silence and never-ending darkness. For that is where we come from nothing. Tears of dying hope in drifting dreams. Only the strong survive in the abyss of emptiness. It's another beautiful night in Claglorn. The fire. A mí me gusta el fuego. Me gusta su calor. I enjoy his work. The white knight from the rift reads Isolor. Catalog of afflictions in the city. To the alien is the ability or inability of a living mind to cope with stimuli and deprivation. It is of utmost interest. How is it that some minds endure when others fail? What manifests in the aftermath of those outcomes? How can those manifestations be identified and altered? The workings of our own minds are such mystery as the workings of the material world, and it is no less dangerous to neglect their care. and is to mistreat the corporeal self. While Clockwork City is a mephisma of Nirn in many ways, it is not a duplication. Many of our rules that govern the world simply do not apply to this realm. Things often taken for granted in the terrestrial world are found to be of vital importance to an individual's sanity when they are suddenly found scarce. Here I will outline a number of the most common afflictions. The most common afflictions to develop previously well-adjusted individuals now inhabiting Clockwork City. Cyclical inert ingestion, compulsive craving and ingestion of non-nutritious and sometimes harmful materials. The ingestion of non-nutritious and sometimes harmful material. It is not unusual for inhabitants and visitors in Clockwork City to experience a palate fatigue for the nutriment paste produced within the brass fortress. Despite its offensive taste and complete nutritional profile, this often causes these individuals to experiment with consuming unusual substances for relief from what fatigue or because of a fallacious belief about the benefits of ingesting the substance that they have developed a taste for. In many cases, this condition may safely go untreated, though some individuals' compulsions pose a significant danger to their health, and those patients should be remanded to the asylum sanatorium for a more controlled therapeutic environment. Magnosomic melancholy. Connections between mortal beings and the stellar bodies are well established, though fraught with superstition and apocrypha. Our relationship with the sun is our particular relevance to the psyche, from simple moodiness and doldrums in the long nights of winter to the violent, frenzied eversions of victims of vampirism. Exposure to the sun has a noticeable effect on the mental health of many races, so its complete absence from Clockwork City is trying on most individuals. Lethargy, irregular sleep patterns, dark thoughts or impulses, and a general malaise are all signs that your patient could be suffering from solar deprivation. C. Volumes on treatment regarding variations of light conjuration in simulated sunlight. Encapsulation syndrome, a particularly insidious affliction similar to the acute fear of being trapped, commonly observed in the terrestrial worlds. Individuals used to living their lives under the open sky are sometimes disconcerted by the easily demarcated boundaries of Sothosil's heavens. They begin to feel inescapable sense of confinement that creates ever-present feelings of anxiety and agitation. These mounting pressures will push them to breaking point if left unresolved, and should be considered a priority for treatment. Minusculation terror. The terrors can be defined as bouts of irrational panic and paranoia that the victims are shrinking. It is unclear whether these episodes are a side effect of transitioning into this realm or a pathological reaction to the experience of being miniaturized. Patients tend to describe peculiarities in their perception ranging from a vague sense of things just being a little off to vertigo, to delusional claims of evidence. For example, one such patient cited that they were now unable to reach one object they had placed on a high shelf the day before. Often these claims are a result of a misrendered details, such as forgetting that they were wearing thick-heeled shoes. Though there is at least one recorded case of a legitimate uncontrolled shrinking, so be vigilant in the investigating of these claims. Obsessive focus and fixation, particularly common among apostles. Sometimes our colleagues must be saved from themselves. Clockwork City was designed with freedom from distraction in mind. It is a place of a contemplation and learning, and sometimes the example. Lord Cetasil sets a third too closely by his followers. We are not gods. We cannot withdraw into our studies infinitely and tirelessly without consequence. It may be necessary to interverse in the studies of an apostle who has developed an unhealthy obsession with their research. Fixated patients have been known to neglect sleep, forget to eat, shun all contact with others, and in some cases literally work themselves to death. As such, we are granted the authority to remand such cases to the asylum, Santorium, at our discretion. Corporeal odium, self-loathing, specifically of one's physical form. Outside of Clockwork City, it was primarily observed in kingdoms where one's physical features or biological heritage play a significant role in an individual's societal worth. It is also fairly common. It is also a fairly common trait among possessing spirits. This condition is on the rise among clockwork apostles who believe their enchantments represent an ideal that their native flesh fails to live up to. Reckless augmentation, self-modulation, and emotional vitality are all warning signs that an apostle's desire for alteration has become an unhealthy obsession. Back from the top. Corporal odium, self-loathing specifically of one's physical form. Outside of Clockwork City, it was primarily observed in kingdoms where one's physical features or biological heritage played a significant role in an individual's societal worth. It is also a fairly common trait among possessing spirits. This condition is on the rise among clockwork apostles who believe their enhancements represent an ideal that their native flesh fails to live up to. Reckless augmentation, self-mutilation, and emotional vitality are all warning signs that an apostle's desire for alteration has become an unhealthy obsession, and the patient should likely be remanded to the Asylum Sanatorium for psycho-spiritual enlightenment. The White Knight from the Rift reads Isolor, the end. Catalog of the afflictions of the city. Sunlight trapped in water always quenches my thirst. Beast by. Pero yo camino solo como el lobo. Yo aúllo a la luna llena. No chain holds me. When I fly, I run free. show me about yours. I met my love. But the White Knight has found a new book to read. This looks interesting. Claglorn Secrets. A star walks in Claglorn. A tale of romance and adventure by Andara the Tale Weaver. He fell from the sky. A star descended from Aetherius to walk among the common folk. Some call him Celestial. Others, the warrior. But me, I called him my love. I met my love on a desolate road, not far from the town of Dragonstar. I was moving quickly through the darkness, trying to avoid the notice of the iron orcs and scale court soldiers, who seemed to be around every turn and bend. It was around just such a bend in the landscape that I literally ran into the tall, powerfully built man in the ancient armor. He caught me before I fell, steadying me with a strong hand that literally sparkled like the stars in the sky. "Where do you run to in such a hurry, fair maiden?" he said. His voice was deep and resonating, sending shivers throughout my body. Damn it! This is terrible. This is terrible. Perhaps I should stick to writing through accounts of the happenings in this war-torn region. I never was very good at pure fiction. Oh wait. I have another idea. I wonder if the warrior is fond of peacock confit and aurum potable. Maybe I will keep writing and see how it turns out after all. The end. Well, that was That's fucked up. I Star Walks in Claglor. How do they leave me hanging with a fucking story like that? Damn you. I Stargazer's ramblings. The tomb of the ancient warrior, alas, alas! The true gods are not silent. The true gods singing to us. If only we had ears to hear it. I had thought my study to be purely academic. Superstitious fool. The belief that knowledge follows knowledge in outdoor possessions like a corpse held aloft was killing me. I said death is inevitable and living is indistinguishable from dying. How wrong was I? How is it I have looked at the stars so many times and seen only light? Oh, ecstasy, it is too much for me to bear. We do not master truth. The truth masters us. In the end, in my final hour, I have learned to serve. The end of knowledge is not knowing, but worship. O great warrior, I lay my body at your feet. He is so lower, the ramblings of a star gazer. The white knight reads he is so lower, but everyone knows sunlight, only sunlight trapped in water can quench my thirst, but I'm thirsty. Yes, Frank, I need to drink. Pinot Grigio, chill, baby. Through the white knight is bored, so he will read. He is so lord. Beast am I. But it's time to roll the dice. Snake eyes, yes. The serpent is upon me. Shit, bruh, I lost my chapstick, man. Oh no. I have to keep my lips moisturized. That's terrible. You have to be organized. Discipline is important. Control. Oh, this motherfucker gonna have. Nah, I'm not gonna play this trash. They're gonna have copyrights on that shit. Bet you this motherfucker don't care. Let's play some of this. Okay. It's the rainbows, the glow, like majestic hope of rays. And I went backwards. It is the rainbows that glow like majestic rays of hope. When the mist falls and the sun burns bright, feel the might of the light that was born in silence and never-ending darkness. The White Knight reads, "He is so Lord." From the journal of Shaman Aganar. The elders say we must always be ready. We must grab every opportunity as it presents itself. And that is exactly what I'm gonna have to take it back from the top. The White Knight reads Iso lore. From the journal of Shaman Aganar. The elders say we must always be ready. We must grab every opportunity as it presents itself. And that is exactly what I did today. I have long struggled under the outmoded ways of Shaman Lashbar. Toothbreaker. I sometimes think he was old even when the first stones were set into the world. He never listens to my suggestions, never wants to try anything new or different. But the stones smile on those who are worthy. When the scale court entered our valley and demanded an audience with our Goldraga, the chief Vradath, Shaman Lashbur was outraged. He called for the deaths of the outsiders. But I knew that a fight with the scale court was a fight we could not win. So I listened to the wind as it whispered through the valley rocks and knew what had to be done. I accused Lash Burr of plotting to kill the chief, all in an effort to break the prophesied alliance before Spawn could forge. Chief Bradoff demanded to know what I was talking about. So I spun my lies and created an elaborate tale. Stroked the Goldraga's ego and sounded just perfect enough to be true. Because of my words, Bradoff welcomed the scale court into our valley. Even as sea ordered the death of sun and feathers for old Lashbird Toothbreaker. As I prepared Lashbird for his punishment, Bradoff and Regent Cassipia, leader of the scale court, discussed terms for alliance and partnership. She seems extremely interested in our techniques for using body inks as well as our skills at crafting armor. When Bradoff flattered, she did something that even I had not anticipated. She offered Bradoff a place of honor within the scale court itself. Now, our chief is also the Ophidian Exarch of Undulating Destruction, and a fitting title for one as bold and powerful was afraid of. Rockburn. Afraid of Rockburn. Perhaps there is a title of equal merit for Agonar. If I continue to listen to the stones and watch the further opportunities for advancement, Lash Burr was beaten and cut, bloodied once for each of the 10 iron oaths of our people. Then he was left, bound to the rock, baking in the sun as the crows began to gather. As much as I would enjoy watching the old shaman finally meet his end, I must make sure to advise the chief and stand at his side as the negotiations with the scale court continue. I will leave 2 guards to witness the old one's passing. I returned later to find Lash gone, and the guards dead. So the old shaman has a few tricks left in him. I should have expected as much. Still, what can one old half-dead iron ore do once he has been beaten and banished? Nothing. And I have more important things to do now. The alliance with the scale court has been agreed upon and sealed. When next I pick up this tale, I hope to announce my new title as regent in the court as well. I wonder what name the serpent will bestow upon me for the service I have provided this day. The end. And the White Knight reads from the Journal of Shaman Agonar. But you gotta stay hydrated. You better drink water and wash your hands. Water is my favorite drink. Interesting. Not very interesting at all. Pedestrian books. Nah, let's look for something interesting. Isolor, Boethiah's glory. Look upon the face of Boethia in wonder. Raise your arms, that Boethia may look upon them and bestow a blessing. Know that battle is just such a blessing. Know that death is inevitable. And know that you are dust in the eyes of Boethia. Long is the arm of Boethia, and swift is the blade. Deep is the cut and subtle the poison. Worship, O faithful. Pray your death is short. Worship, O faithful. Pray your death is wide. Worship, O faithful. Worship the glory that is Boethia. Into battle strides the Daedric prince, blade at the ready to carve the unworthy. Boethia's glory is, O Lord. Invocation of Hircine. Mighty Lord Hircine, noble Lord Hircine, we come before you in all obeisance and humility, acknowledging your divine authority over the forest and all lawful prey therein. We evoke you, O Master. of the chase. In your aspect of Albarel, the hunter, to look kindly upon the end of these, your worshippers, as we praise you by engaging in the hallowed tradition of the hunt. Ever do we respect the law of fair hunt, never taken a quarry, and never had a chance of escape. Ever do we respect the prey, thanking for its sacrifice in our worship to you. Ever do we respect the huntsman's beseeching permission, even as we lose the arrow. Bless us as we hunt. O Hercene, help us to hunt with honor and bring in prey, both lawful and bountiful. The white knight from the rift and reads, is so lower. Yo soy la bestia sin nombre.